cadmium yellow lemon. This is really helpful for mixing blue greens. I'll usually mix this with phthalo blue green shade. Of course, titanium white, cadmium yellow medium, yellow ochre. I would end up mixing this color quite a bit, so it's definitely a convenience to have it on my palette. And of course, burnt sienna. As you guys probably know, I do my sketches with burnt sienna. It's nice to have the pops of orange in a landscape and a seascape for that matter too. Looks like I've already got enough alizarin crimson out. Dioxazine purple. Of course, ultramarine blue, probably on everybody's palette. And phthalo blue green shade. There's also cadmium red light, but I don't use that very often. So in this case today, I'm not going to squeeze out any. It's expensive too. Okay, so I've got my Anderson easel as usual. Odorless mineral spirits in a brush washer. Using Liquin, always using Liquin when I paint outdoors. And then an assortment of brushes. Probably going to be using this Natural Bristle Flat number 8. And I'm working on an 11 by 22 inch panel. I love painting waves. There's a lot of freedom in, you know, it's just more or less like an abstract painting. It's an opportunity to play around with paint application and composition. So a lot of times I like to paint looking straight out at the ocean and include the reflections in the wet sand. The waves are pretty small today, which is not a bad thing. I'm really just looking for the shapes or the forms and color. So you can see the color here is different from the color looking in this direction. The reflections there are reflecting more of the blue sky that's starting to appear. Clouds are kind of, or the fog is burning off. So different color over there than here. I'm probably going to paint in this direction because there's more contrast with the rising waves. See how the wave is like getting really dark? That's nice because it makes the white water pop out. Down here, looking in this direction, there's less contrast. Although I do like the blue of the sky reflected in the white, in the wet sand. But I think I'm going with this right here. Just a quick sketch. I try to be really quick about this and not too careful so that I get the random effects, you know, of the ocean. So I kind of put the horizon high because there's not really a lot going on in the sky. And I want the, you know, the waves to be the main feature. So the horizon line is high. It's really helpful to bring a straight edge for the horizon. I didn't bring one, but I can fix that up later. But, you know, I try to put the main wave or the main feature on the top third, or the wave that's the most prominent at the top third. And then obviously there'll be some sand here, wet sand. And then I'm not sure, I kind of work out the white water as I go along. But there's some nice color in the water right now. The sky's kind of a purpley blue, and then that's reflected in the wet sand. Nice blue greens in the water, so that's what I'm going to focus on. All right, so I'm going to start by mixing up some sky color, and I've got ultramarine, a little bit of dioxazine purple, titanium white, and then I'm adding a bit of yellow ochre to kind of gray this down. You know, the yellow ochre being a complement to the purplish tones here, or the dioxazine purple. So that's kind of a natural way to gray down the color. I like to gray down using complements. My palette is about a mid-tone value, and I want to keep the sky a little bit above mid-tone value. So I'm using this as a gauge, obviously adding some liquid and a bit of odorless mineral spirits to thin it. I just want to get something on the panel, and then I can start making adjustments. And I like to keep the paint thin and sort of transparent, as you guys probably know. Liquid helps with that because it thins the paint, but it doesn't break down. It's adding binder, so it makes the paint film nice and strong, and it adheres to the panel really well. All right, I think I'll do the wet sand next because it's reflecting the sky. It's a little bit darker and a little grayer. So I'll work with the same puddle of paint here. And then I'm going to darken it a little bit with a little bit of ultramarine. I might add just a touch of burnt sienna here to gray it down. And so now you can see there's a, here's the sky color, here's the reflected sand. Maybe I'll make it a little bluer. And keeping brush strokes in there allows for like a feeling of energy. All right, so next I think I'm gonna mix some color for the water. I wanna get, the darker portions of the wave here, but first I wanna get a generalized color for the water. It appears to be sort of a blue-green. So I'm starting with ultramarine, titanium white, and I'm adding a little bit of yellow ochre to it to make it green, but also kind of keep it grayed down. And I'm adding liquid, of course. So I'm gonna go for just a random pattern up here for this wave. For the lighter portions, I could add a little bit more yellow. Maybe I'll add a touch of cadmium yellow lemon to exaggerate that blue-green quality. That looks pretty good. Yeah. Now I wanna make sure the value is such that there's nice contrast between the green water and then the white water. So I'm using the white of the panel to determine, how dark I want this darker water to be. I'm keying the painting to this white water here. All right, so the dry sand where it meets the wet sand is kind of a dark, I don't know, it's kind of a grayish color actually. So I'm gonna mix that up next. But I'm gonna start with yellow ochre, and just gonna add some mud from a different part of the palette here, just to see where we're at with this. That's kind of close. And looking to kind of blend or soften the edge between the wet sand and the dry. Keep my brush work kind of random here. All right, so quick block in, and now I'm gonna start looking for patterns or things that aren't quite working. Like, I don't like that this wave is sort of in the center. So I might move that a little bit. I do like the shape of, the wet sand as it meets the dry sand. This sort of area here, I'm not sure. I need to mess that up a little bit. There should be also some white water in the foreground, like maybe right in here. Although I don't want to put it directly in the center of the panel. Although I don't know that that'll matter. Maybe I'll make it the white water kind of coming at an angle in some kind of way. So that'll be the next step. All right, so I'm starting to add the dark areas under the broken waves, and then also right along the tops of the broken waves, there's also a dark line. Typically, it works from dark to kind of a lighter color, and then the white water, trying to keep an eye on composition and keep energy in the painting. All right, so I'm gonna stop here. There are a few touch-ups I'll probably do at home. It's super fun to do these, but it is challenging because, you know, you're pretty much making it up as far as the composition. I do feel like there's some nice energy in the foreground here, and then it leads out to these distant waves as well. So yeah, overall this, oh, and then also too, it was fun putting these sort of saturated blue-greens in the waves, looking for those little shifts of color. So this was a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you'd like to see some extra videos and help support the channel, I've got a Patreon link down below. Got a bunch of extra videos on that channel, so check it out. And other than that, stay creative, and I'll see you guys in the next video.